Hi everyone, it's TheTidesChanging here, and welcome to another Sims 4 speed build. Today I'm going to be making a cozy little house called Cod Charmer, which is just a simple Cape Cod style house. And this is another one of the houses that I will be using in my Sims 4 Let's Play. And this will be for Lily and Taz. And it's very small and simple since it's just two Sims that are going to be living in it. This house is only 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom, just because, of course, 2 bathrooms wouldn't really be necessary. But while this house is very simple, the roof of it actually gave me a little bit of trouble because, with Cape Cod style houses, typically the second floor, it's not like 2 regular second floors, like the second floor of the house is kind of in the roof a little bit, and a lot of times they have sloped ceilings and dormers. And that didn't work quite as well in The Sims 4 as it did in The Sims 3, because in The Sims 3, if you put if you put roof on the second level and then you put roof over that area on the third level, it gets rid of the roof underneath of it, but that doesn't really happen with The Sims 4. It still stays there. So I ran into this issue where I had I just put roof on the second floor, to cover everything, and then I put walls within that. But I had the issue that the roof would still show through, when you're looking on the second level, and obviously you don't want to have that when you're playing the game. So what I had to do was just use the half gable roofs down on the second level rather than, just having the entire roof. I had to put the half gable roofs on the second floor wherever wherever the living space wasn't going to be, to get it to work and to not have the roof show through like you see here. And then of course I ran into more of the whole roof protruding through glitch. And I said this in the previous speed build, but you can fix that by just putting a room within the room and then just making the edges of that room go to the edges of the room that it's in, and that seems to really work to get rid of it. At the back end of the house here, though, I'm working on a large porch that overlooks the river, which I think is a really nice feature. It's definitely very scenic to just have a river right outside of your backyard, although there isn't really a whole lot of yard in the back of the house. It's mainly on the side of it. Which is a little bit odd, but I feel like it would have been weird if I had the house facing out to the other street, so I just stuck it in this way, and there's some trees. I put some trees and stuff like that on the side yard. But I know I've been doing a lot of cutesy cottage type houses lately, which you guys might be getting sick of. I don't know, maybe not. But I think the next couple of speed builds I do will be things that are a little bit different. So for the next one, I was thinking about actually making a wedding venue because, eventually in my Let's Play, Sims are gonna get married, and I don't want to just slap a bar and wedding arch and chairs in the park like I did when I played on my own. Because, I played on my own, and when my Sim got married, I was like, crap, I need to set up a wedding venue, but I didn't feel like spending hours actually making something, so I was just like, you know what, I'll just stick an arch near a lake and some chairs, and then I threw the wedding, and then I hired a caterer and mixologist, and I completely forgot that you needed a kitchen and a bar. So then I just stuck kitchen appliances in the bathroom area, that little separate bathroom building, and it just looked really weird. And I stuck the tiki bar randomly on the ground, and it was a mess of a wedding, and I don't want to do that in my Let's Play. And I know there's wedding venues out there, but I think it'd be really fun to make one on my own and do something a little bit different. Because I think I've only ever built residential lots on this channel. I don't think I made any videos of doing community lots, so I want to actually do something different and make a little community lot, and I'll probably have it look kind of church-like, and I wanted to have, of course the area for the wedding, and then also everything you need for the reception, so, a little kitchen, and some musical instruments, and a bar, and, yeah, I think it'll be really fun to do something different and make that, and that'll probably be the next speed build that I do. I don't know how long from now. That'll be probably a couple weeks. And then after that, I actually want to do just a huge house, because I haven't done a mansion in a while. I guess Berrywine Acres was kind of a mansion, but it wasn't really enormous. And then Blue Steel, while that was large, that wasn't really a mansion. It was actually pretty small house-wise. It was just the constrained floor elevation stuff and the landscaping that took me ages. But yeah, I haven't done a mansion in a while, so I'm gonna do that next. And I think I'm gonna do a Spanish style mansion in Oasis Springs. Something different. So that'll probably be done after the wedding chapel. And So relating to that, something else I want to talk about is that why I keep saying speed builds is that I'm really thinking about, I don't think I want to do time-lapse videos anymore, just because I haven't felt like doing them because it's a really tedious and time-consuming process. Like, it takes almost as long to make the video as it does to make the house, because it pretty much involves deleting everything in the house, you know, every wall, every object, every landscaping item, and then taking screenshots or video of it being added back in, which amounts to thousands of screenshots and thousands of items you have to delete, and then you have to edit it all together, and I just haven't been enjoying that process lately, and it's just very frustrating for me, kind of sucks the fun out of building in a way, and I don't know, I've been having a lot more fun just doing speed builds lately, cause, you know, you just record yourself building, and then by the time you finish the house, the video is a good bit of the way done, and I kind of enjoy going more into my thought process on making the houses, so I'll probably just be doing speed builds from now on, and that might disappoint some of you, but then again, I did ask in, I think it was the Asilomar renovation, you know, what your preferences were as far as speed build versus time-lapse, and a lot of you actually said that you prefer speed build, so maybe this won't be such a disappointment, but I don't know, I just feel like it might be best for me, especially with being in school full-time and everything. It's just a lot less time-consuming to make speed builds. But I'm gonna get back to what I'm doing with the house now that most of the landscaping is actually done, but as you saw, the house is just a nice green color, and the border paint actually worked this time, because with the last house that I made, it wasn't showing up on some of the corners. It was really frustrating, but it actually worked properly with this house, and I guess that's because it's just a square, so it's a little bit easier for it to work, and I really do wish they had just manual side pieces that you could place on your own, but I'm going through here and replacing the floor tile that I used on the paths with an actual terrain paint, because I didn't realize it, but there was a terrain paint that looked the exact same as those floor tiles, but the icons for them look different, so I didn't quite realize that, but I like using terrain paint more because it has softer edges and looks a little bit more natural, so I just changed the floor to the terrain paint. I think it looks a little bit better, and there is, of course, a little garden area on the left side of the deck over there for Lily, since she is going to, her lifetime wish, or I think it's aspiration now. I'm so used to saying lifetime wish, but her aspiration was, I can't remember the exact name of it, but it was the one to learn a ton of stuff about gardening, so she of course needs to have a little garden, and I do leave some extra space in the landscaping because she'll be doing the, I think it's astronaut career, or astronomer, I think it's astronaut, but I figure because of that, she'll probably want both the rocket and the observatory, so we have to leave some extra space to be able to place those since they're ginormous objects, and I do kind of wish they still had the smaller telescope. I'm not sure why the only option for a telescope is that ginormous thing that takes up like 4x4 tiles. It just seems a little bit ridiculous. Like, I could understand if it was like you have the regular telescope and then you have that giant one that extra things could be done with, but it's the only option, which is just weird. But anyway, I just placed a bunch of plants back behind the porch there, just to, you know, add a little bit of brightness and color. And I also did use those nice tree-shaped hedges again that I used in the previous house. I don't know, I really like those, and I'm probably going to be using those in most of the houses that I do. And here I was trying to add some of that roof trim, but for some reason some of the smaller sized ones wouldn't go on, so I had to delete, I guess there was some there and I didn't realize it, so I had to delete that first and then put the slightly larger size trim on it. And here I was trying to figure out another tree to put between the path and the edge of the lot, because I feel like there's something else needed to go there, so I did place that birch tree, and then I ended up just replacing with a completely different kind of tree and used the same one on the other side just to fill up in some of that space. And like I said before, I left a bunch of extra space in the landscaping, and here I'm doing the nighttime lighting. And once again, I just really love the lighting system of The Sims 4. The light just filters between the different levels so well. But I was trying to pick out some kind of decoration to go on the front porch, just because I feel like there had to be something on there, but then, you know, there weren't a whole lot of decorations that go well. So there's this little rabbit-looking lawn ornament thing, so I just stuck that there. And then for the garden area here, I came across a bunch of garden-themed knick-knack type stuff, so I just stuck that there to make it look, you know, like the garden had been used. And the last little bit of, you know, exterior landscaping is just the decorations for the outdoor porch. I didn't really put a ton on it because I usually don't go too detailed with the outdoor furnishing, but I just put a grill, and there's a little set of table and chairs, and then a there's a garden pot there, I guess, so you can put an additional plant there, and then there's also a chess table, so, I could see myself going out onto the porch and having coffee while overlooking the river. Like, I just feel like that'd be a really good way to start your day. But now the exterior of the house is actually done, so moving on to the interior of it. And I try to keep things pretty cheap with the interior because I didn't want this house to end up too absurdly expensive. And I think the house only ended up being about 40,000 simoleons, which isn't too bad. Like, for me, that's pretty good. Because I made small homes very, very expensive when I haven't watched what I got. But I did use one of the cheapest TVs, and I put it on this end table, and I had it kind of crooked, so it faced over to the other corner of the room, which is where the couch will be. And then I put that crate type object there to give a somewhat messy look since, Taz is a slob. And then there's also a backpack there. I was going to put a plant there, but then, I felt like it'd be a little bit more interesting to have more actual clutter type items. And it would just be weird to have a plant there because, it would kind of be blocking the view of the television. And I am placing the couch over here in the corner like I said I was going to. I had some trouble placing it though because I didn't like that there was the space on the floor between the back of the couch and the wall. But, I just left it like that anyway because whenever I had it against one of the walls, it didn't look right with how the TV was. The TV was rotated, and I want to keep the TV like that. So, I just stuck a coffee table to fill in the space between the couch and the TV and added an end table over there. And I like the look of this living room. It's different than the living rooms that I've done so far because in the other ones, I put I think in the houses I've done so far, I've just put the TVs on that same coffee table that I'm using there and actually use it as a coffee table, but this time I did. And then I found another little garden knick-knack and stuck it out there. And I also was trying to figure out what to do with this corner here. I put a plant in at first, but I was trying to keep away from plants because, I couldn't really see there being a ton of potted plants in a cheaper looking house, so I just left it as just that light in the corner there to add a little bit of brightness to the room because a lot of the lights in this game are pretty dim. A lot of them just don't light the rooms that well, so you have to use several lights to properly light it. But moving on to the kitchen now, and I was going to use some of the more modern cabinets to try and keep it a little bit cheaper, but they just didn't fit in very well with this style of house, so I just kept using I just used the same set of counters I used in the previous one. Something that does kind of annoy me about this kitchen though is that since I use the 2-tile wide windows again, I couldn't place a sink and stove directly under them because I like to do that. I like to have both the sink, or at least a sink directly under sink, but I couldn't do that and it kind of drove me nuts a little bit. I don't know, I guess I'm particular about things sometimes. And then there is this kind of neat little other cabinet against that wall there. So this is a little bit different than the galley style kitchens that I've done in the previous two. Well, I didn't do a galley style kitchen in the starter, but a couple of the other houses that I've done in The Sims 4. So this one is a little bit different of design, even if it does have a similar kind of countertop. And now I'm just going through and placing all the little knickknacks. I use that little coffee cup thing in here again. I just really love that. I keep saying that I really love that little decorative piece, but I'm probably going to use it in most kitchens that I do. And with the upper cabinets, I did pretty much the same thing that I did in the previous kitchen, where I used the smaller cabinets to get it right up on those windows. Because if you use a regular cabinet, then you can, and I don't like having a large gap. But now the kitchen's done, so I'm moving on to the dining room. I ended up using the same set of table and chairs that I used in the previous house, and that's another reason, why I just want to do something different, because I've just been using similar furniture in most of the Sims 4 builds. Well, I've only done 4 Sims 4 builds, but 3 out of 4 of them have been the same theme of being, cutesy cottage type house that's furnished for a young adult. And I don't like to repeat the same type of theme too many times. I don't like to stick to just one style of house, which is why I just like to try a variety of themes. So I'm really looking forward to trying the Spanish theme house and getting to use furniture that I haven't used yet, because I don't think I've used any of the Spanish themed stuff yet. But at this point, the furnishing on this floor in this area of the house is done, so I'm moving on to the wallpaper, because I do like to put all the furniture down, see how all the colors and everything look, and then actually do the wallpaper. I did skip through some of the wallpaper placement though, because it took me a long while. This isn't the final wallpaper that I used, but I cut out a little bit because it's just a really long period of me just going through and looking at different wallpapers, which is kind of boring. I wasn't exactly sure what to do for the wallpaper in this house, because I feel like just the plain colors were too plain, but then whenever I tried a patterned wallpaper, it looked like too much, so then I was messing around with having different colors, And then I also tried this paneling, and that paneling just didn't fit the theme of the furniture at all. So then for now I had blue and red wallpaper paint in there, and then I kept red in the dining room and then blue in the main area, you know, in the living room area, and then had gray wall kind of between it as sort of a neutral color. And then I went to the kitchen, and then I did place a tile backsplash on some of the walls, but then I ended up just making it all wallpaper because it looked weird to have some of it the tile and then some of it not the tile. And I also did that same thing with enlarging the curtains that I did in the Let's Build house, just because I wasn't really happy with how the curtains regularly looked. But now moving on to the bathroom, now that that whole main area is done, although I do go back in a little bit and alter the wall paints again, but I just use the cheapest shower, cheapest toilet, and I also put that little bath hutch thing in there that I really like. I said this before, but there's a lot of really neat knick-knacky type items for the bathroom. And then I also put a hamper and a towel in there. I was going to put some dirty clothes in there, you know, because once again, Taz is a little bit messy, but then I decided not to because it wouldn't look very good. And then, you know, if I had the hamper there and put it in front of it, it would block things. But here I do go back and mess around with changing the wallpaper again. So I did have this panel with kind of a patterned wallpaper above it. And I put that all over the place, but then I was worried that was a little bit too busy, and then here I was trying to experiment with having a tiled backsplash again, but I ran into an issue where if I had it against that one wall where the stove is, it just looked weird when one wall was the tile and then the next wall is a panel, so then that's why I just left that whole wall the wallpaper type of paint. And here I go back, and then, you know, I felt like having the panel with wallpaper above everywhere was too busy, so I ended up having part of it be the blue wall paint, and then in the dining room area, it's the wall panel, which I guess looks a little bit better because it's not so busy and overwhelming, and plus the living room is more contemporary themed, so it looks better to have the wall paint in there. But right now, the whole first floor is done, so moving on to the upper floor, which is just Taz and Lily's bedrooms. And their bedrooms are both the exact same size, so, you know, there's no favoritism there. They got the same size, although it's furnished very different because they have different styles, you know. Lily is a neat freak and Taz is a slob, and that'll be reflected in the furnishing of the rooms. But I did make kind of a reading nook in this area up here because there wasn't really room for a lot in the landing area, but there was enough room to put that wall bookshelf and then a chair, so, you know, there's not another bookshelf anywhere else in the house, so I feel like there had to be one somewhere. But the first bedroom that I did was Taz's bedroom. I just gave Taz a single bed because placing a double bed in this room would have taken up a lot of space, and I wanted there to be room for both a desk and a painting easel since, you know, she is an artist, so she of course has to have a painting easel. And I do like the shape of this room. It's a lot more interesting than, you know, a square room, because square rooms can be kind of, you know, boring to furnish, so it's always fun when you have an interesting shaped room like this. You know, you can place objects in nifty places, and, you know, you can make things look a little bit more interesting. And I did place a pile of dirty clothes because, you know, I wanted this room to look a little bit more cluttery and have some more interesting objects. So instead of using the desk lamp that I normally use, I just used that funky little panda lamp because I wanted there to be some interesting things in the room. And, you know, as you may have saw, I also put some posters above the bed just to add a cluttered look, and then I'm putting in some shelves here and placing some objects on them. And once again, there's not really a ton of things that fit on the shelves, unfortunately. Hopefully in the future they'll put out some more knick-knack type objects, or, you know, clutter objects. I really like using clutter objects, but I think it's just about all the furnishing in this room. So now I was trying to pick out the wallpaper, and I was trying to find a green color that matched the green that was on the bedspread, so I came across that wallpaper after a little bit of hunting and placed it. And now we're moving on to Lily's bedroom, and her bedroom's a little bit neater and more put together. There's not a lot of clutter in it because she's a neat freak, and I see her as more of the type A person who likes to have everything in its place. So I did give her a double bed just because, you know, I feel like that kind of gives off a more mature vibe, and that's, you know, I want her to have a mature looking room, although it is bright pink, but that's also because she's a bit of a girly girl. And then I just went back in and changed the rugs in Taz's room, put that bright blue one underneath the easel, and then put the larger rose rug in, you know, in that area where the desk is. But going back over to Lily's room, I just stuck a desk in there in front of the window so you can sit there and look out the window while you're on your computer. And there isn't really a ton of decorative items in this room. I do put a rug in there, and I changed it to be brown, so it was different than the rugs in the other rooms, or the other bedroom. And I do take out that plant there because it did cause some rounding issues, which I found out upon doing a little bit of play testing. And I also did move the pile of laundry in Taz's room because she couldn't get in her bed. But we are about to move on to the showcase portion of the video, so this will be all from me. I hope you enjoy the rest of this video.